everybody, Big Scary back again. I'm bringing you another great show. Remember to smash the like button and the subscribe button so you'll be notified whenever I come out with another show. And so I'm going to do a post-fight breakdown of UFC 251. This was the first event on Fight Island, Yaz Island in Abu Dhabi, and it was a pretty good card. Gotta say, I think I'm liking the 25-foot cage that's at the Apex Center in Vegas, the UFC center. Yeah, that 5 foot makes a difference. That 5 foot makes a difference. These fights were in the regulation 30-foot cage or the normal 30-foot cage, and I think they've been a little more exciting at the Apex Center. But without further ado, let's get to the event at hand. UFC 251. Usman against Masvidal was the headliner. So the card started off at bantamweight with Martin Day versus Davy Grant, and it was a nice little back and forth affair. Grant was just getting a little bit crisper, harder shots, and then eventually in the third round he was able to land a nice punch to completely flatline Martin Day. So a nice win for Davy Grant. Our next fight of the evening was at bantamweight, Carol Rosa against Vanessa Melo, and yeah, this was a dominating affair. Rosa was just all around better. I mean, she was 2 for 4 on takedowns, and I mean, she completely outstruck her. So yeah, this was a dominating affair. Nice win for Carol Rosa. Our next fight of the evening was Raulian Paiva against Zhalgas Jumagulov, and it was a decent back and forth affair. Paiva was just one step ahead every time. He was able to use his range and his reach, and yeah, I mean, it was a nice win. This was at flyweight. I feel like he's going to be something to look out for. He's tall for the weight. He's tall, so I look forward to seeing more of him at flyweight. Our next fight of the evening was at heavyweight, Marcin Tybura against Maxim Grishin. And Grishin was moving up from light heavyweight, and you could see the size difference. And Tybura was able to just utilize that. I mean, he bullied him on the cage. He was able to bully him to the mat. I mean, it wasn't anything amazing from Tybura, but a win is a win in the UFC. Our next fight of the evening was at lightweight, Leonardo Santos against Roman Bogatov, and Santos was dominating the fight, and then in the third round, Bogatov, actually Santos even almost finished it in the second, and then Bogatov just started deciding to just foul him, and so he'd ended up losing 2 points that round, but I'm not even sure how they scored it because there were 29-26 scores. I mean, clearly Santos won the first and the second, probably even a 10-8 second round. And then I guess what they scored I don't know if they gave Bogatov the round in the third, so was it an 8 or a 10-8 so it wound up being an 8-8 because they took 2 points away for all the fouls. That doesn't add up either. So I'm not even sure. I have no idea how they scored the fight, but yeah, but Santos got the win. Next fight of the evening was Makwan Amirkhani against Danny Henry at featherweight, and Amirkhani came out, didn't even land that many shots, but was able to get the takedown and got it to an anaconda choke and was able to tap him out. 3 minutes and 50 seconds left in the round. So a nice win for Amirkhani at featherweight. Our next fight of the evening was Alizea Zaleski dos Santos against Muslim Zalikov. And it was definitely a nice back and forth affair. Zalikov was just it's like the King of Kung Fu or something, some name like that. And yeah, no, he put together. He had a nice performance. I mean, and Dos Santos, I mean, he's a capoeira practitioner, and but Zalakov actually had like the flashier stand up, so it was a nice win for Zalakov. What was that, a welterweight? All right, and then our final of the prelims was at light heavyweight, Volkan Ozdemir against Yuri Prochazka. And this was Yuri's debut in the UFC. He had been the champ over in Japan in the Risen organization, and he had some good wins. I'd seen a couple of his fights. He's an interesting fighter. See, he gets hurt a lot of times and will come back from but he always ends up getting the knockout, always. And I mean, at least every time I've seen him. And so yeah, and they did the same thing against Ozdemir. Definitely came out and looked pretty good as a interesting style. I definitely look forward to seeing more of him. All right, so our first fight of the main card was at flyweight, Amanda Ribas against Paige Van Zandt. And this was Paige Van Zandt's last last fight on her contract, and she'd been talking about how unhappy she was with the UFC and how she was gonna go look at test the free agency market. So yeah, you kind of knew they were gonna throw her to the wolves, and Amanda Ribas, I mean, yeah, she completely dominated her. Yeah, she was able to get it to the ground, and yeah, she goes for the armbar, and Paige defended, but Amanda was able to keep going for it, and even after Paige was able to stack her, Amanda was able to still pull out the submission. Yeah, definitely, she's got a nice, an exciting personality. I mean, if you watched her post-fight interview, definitely seen she's a crowd-friendly fighter and a crowd-friendly attitude. So look forward to seeing more from her. Our next fight of the evening was a rematch at strawweight, Jessica Andrade against Rose Namajunas, and in the last fight, that was actually for the title, and Namajunas was winning the fight until Andrade slammed her on her head and knocked her out and took the belt. So I mean, I kind of assumed it was going to go. I mean, not that it's lucky to slam someone on their head and knock them out, but it's just not a high percentage thing that's going to happen. And what I was seeing before that was that Namajunas was just better on their feet, and Andrade was unable to take her down. I mean, kind of think that Namajunas might be better even on the ground. So I mean, I kind of felt like I knew it was going to happen, and sure enough, I mean, Namajunas looked good. She looked crisp, and I gotta say, Andrade looked pretty good. I mean, she looked one of the best she's ever looked. She had amazing head movement, footwork. I mean, she put her combinations together. Like I mean, yes, she's always gonna wing shots. But she was better with them. I mean, looked like a female Mike Tyson in there. That was, I mean, really. But Namajunas was able to pull out the victory, so that was a nice victory. Our next fight of the evening was for the bantamweight title, Peter Yan against Jose Aldo, and Yan is just a real good fighter, and I think I called that it was going to be a TKO, and that's exactly what it was. I thought, I mean, they could have stopped the fight several times, but man, one thing other than the Conor McGregor fight where he just got flatlined right off the bat, and that still was. I mean, I feel like McGregor got so much into his head that Aldo didn't act the way he normally does and just got too aggressive. But Aldo is still, he's got so much heart. I mean, because he could have, I mean, he was getting beat down pretty bad. He actually, I think he probably won the second round. I mean, there was he had some moments in there. I mean, put together some nice combinations. But like I said in the pre-fight breakdown, he needs to go back to his roots with the leg kicks. That was his bread and butter. That's how he was able to damage Uriah Faber so much, and so many of his earlier fights. That was such a great weapon. And when he used it against Peter Yan, I mean, he dropped him once from a leg kick. His leg kicks look good, but there were not enough of them. He just needs to. He needed to throw more. And yeah, but Yan, what can I say? Looks good. I can't wait to see who he fights next. Whether it's Aljamain Sterling, that'll be a good fight. I can't wait to see hopefully Yan against Cody Garbrandt. That would be an exciting stand-up boxing fight. Two exceptional strikers. But so nice win for Yan, and I think he might be the champ for a little while. We'll see. All right, and so our co-main event was for the featherweight title. Alexander Volkanovski against Max Holloway. This is a rematch. This is an immediate rematch. And the last fight, Volkanovski, he won. He had a nice game plan, worked leg kicks, and he dominated Holloway in the stand-up. He didn't. Yes, he pretty much dominated him. I kind of figured that. If I'm scoring this fight, I think that Holloway won, but they ended up giving Volkanovski the fight. Holloway completely changed up his game plan, and so he was checking the leg kicks. So I had Holloway winning the first 3 rounds, and then Volkanovski bringing on later into the fight, but not even winning those rounds by that much. It's not the worst decision I've ever seen, but it's not good. And then so now Holloway's down 2-0. So how quickly are they going to give him the rematch? This kind of robbery hurts, because if this would have been the first fight, then he still would have gotten an immediate rematch to make up for that. But since this was the second fight and he lost the first one, now who knows how long it'll take before he can get a rematch. But Volkanovski got the win, so yeah, he's still the featherweight champ. So that brings us to our main event of the evening. Kamaru Usman against Jorge Masvidal, and this was a 6-day short notice fight for Masvidal, and I kind of knew that Usman was just going to be able to out-grapple Masvidal. Not even to say that just because of the short notice fight. It's kind of been Masvidal's weakness, that someone who can out-grapple him and repeatedly take him down. And so I kind of felt like if he didn't have a full camp and wasn't able to put in the cardio and put in the training to be able to stop a wrestler like that he just wasn't. I kind of knew it was going to happen, and yeah, it just played out the same way I thought it would. And Masvidal looked good at points. He was able to get back up a lot of times. He never gave up once he was down. He was even trying to hurt Usman from the bottom. But Usman, he's good. He's a good champ. It's interesting how at welterweight it seems like it's always the wrestlers. It's always the wrestlers who are able to dominate the division. I guess Robbie Lawler was able to do pretty good for a while. Johnny Hendricks was a wrestler, but he was able to knock people out. But the longest champs have been predominantly wrestlers. And the Covington Usman fight might have had people thinking, oh, maybe Usman's gonna always strike, but no, that was just against Covington. There was bad blood there. And even though Masvidal and Covington acted like there was some kind of bad blood, or Masvidal and Usman acted like there was some kind of bad blood. It wasn't on the same caliber. So, they even shook hands after the fight. So, Usman wasn't going to be sucked into doing something against what he knew in his better judgment was going to win him the fight. So, he got the win. And, hey, that's how it is. So, I saw that Masvidal was calling for the immediate rematch. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. I thought it was interesting. Ariel Helwani, he had said that he thought that Leon Roberts or Leon Edwards and Gilbert Gilbert Burns need to fight for the next shot at the title, so I can't even remember the guys. Some Abdulaziz, the manager for Gilbert Burns, he said that ESPN isn't going to get any more access to his fighters. So for speaking his having an opinion, but okay, so whatever. But yeah, no, it was a decent card. I don't want to toot my own horn, but all the main fights that I picked, I got all right. I just didn't call I said it was going to go to decision Ribas against Paige Van Zandt, and Ribas was able to finish her. And I mean, even though I called it right, and I mean the actual result, I kind of have to go with Max Holloway that he won, but Volkanovski won. So hey, that's how the cookie crumbled. But so yeah, that's another great event. And there's the next event is actually Wednesday. What is that? Dan Ige against Calvin Kattar is the main event. So we'll see how we'll see how that card goes. I'll have the breakdown of that, and then this weekend is also another event. They got them all lined up on Yaz Island. I think there might be one. I think there's 4 events in all. I think there were 3 this week. And then so the main event for this weekend is Davison Figueiredo against Joseph Benavidez, and that's a rematch. But Figueiredo had missed weight, so he wasn't able to win the title. But then he was able to finish Benavidez, and Figueiredo didn't get the title. So this time we'll see if he actually makes weight. But yeah, so this is another great episode. But you can find us on YouTube, Trauma Television, because this is a Trauma Television production. On Facebook, Trauma Television. On Facebook, Big Scary. Or on Twitter, Big Scary. And as Martin Luther King said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice.